Alrighty, everyone. I hope you guys are ready for some big moves because that's exactly what we're about to see in the stock market. Now, looking at a chart of SPY, we are at a crucial level that the market has been struggling with since the start of 2022. We have this giant descending trend line that the market has struggled to break out above so many times in 2022. And we're at a point where the market actually broke out of this trend line, but we're actually retesting it right now. And all while this is happening, we have some very important data that is set to release tomorrow, Wednesday, March 22nd. So looking at the market right now and where everything stands, for the most part, we're at a major level, which is very important to keep in mind, but we're actually in a situation where the event we have tomorrow with the interest rate decision is really the only important event that we have to look out for. Over the past couple of months, a lot of times when we have these major events, we'd have earnings with it, or maybe inflation data with it, or anything else, and it would make it, more, I don't want to say hard to trade, but it would just be different, right? We're at a point right now where the market is very focused on what the Federal Reserve is going to do next with interest rates. And we're actually at a point right now where the market is actually pricing in a 15% chance of there being no rate hike at all. That is insane because nobody was expecting something like this. And the only reason that there is a 15% chance of there being no rate hike at all is because of the absolute disaster that we've had going on with, these bank stocks, whether it's Credit Suisse or honestly, any other of these banks that have just been taking an absolute beating, it has caused some other risk to the financial system. And, now the market is adjusting for that by, possibly stopping the rate hikes, and it's very interesting. But on the other hand, what's most likely to happen tomorrow is we're going to see most likely an 85% chance of there being a 25 basis point rate hike. And while that's, it is what it is, and I think that's a good thing, ultimately what will really matter is what Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, says about the economy in the market right now. If he has any bearish tone, this market could be in for a world of hurt. But here's the thing. So right now, the market is at an interesting point because a lot of times, whenever there's a lot of fear in the market, we see the volatility index or the VIX just rise quicker than you could possibly imagine, right? And we're at a point right now where the volatility index or the VIX is not doing anything. Literally, it's just very subdued, and anytime it does have a move up, it doesn't last too long. And essentially what this means is that, there's some risk and there's a little bit of panic in the market right now, but it's not anywhere near the magnitude of what we saw in 2020 or even in the end of 2018 or honestly anything like that. So it's the market itself is not pricing in any disastrous drop. But keep in mind that anytime we see a black swan event, the market never prices it in. So the main thing to know going into tomorrow and, over the next couple weeks is that, the market's kind of expecting all sunshine and rainbows, and it's expecting a very optimistic outlook or just a nice soft landing. And if we see anything that is short of that, whether it be Powell, maybe being more bearish or hawkish than the market anticipated, or maybe if we see a 50 basis point rate hike or, anything like that, that can really move the market to the downside. So definitely keep that in mind. But what I also really want to touch on is as we look at the SPY right now, going into the major event tomorrow with a federal interest rate decision, let's say we look at SPY and right now it's at $396 per share. Right now, the market is expecting a move of $6.50 to the upside or the downside for SPY right now. And the reason this is interesting is because I love to, you could say plot it on the chart. Give me 1 second. We could see this green zone right here is basically showing us the range of where the market is expected to close between right now till the end of the federal interest rate decision tomorrow. So basically from right now until the close of tomorrow on Wednesday, March 22nd, the market is expected to be between $389.50 per share and $402.50 per share. Anything outside of this range has potential to be like a meltdown / melt up. Most likely the market will stay in between this range, but definitely keep these two levels in mind, 402.50 and 389.50. Anything outside of this range can definitely bring some extreme volatility and just craziness. Most of the time, market makers do an amazing job at pricing options in a way where market makers win most of the time. Obviously, that's their job. But, if we see a move outside of these bands, it can definitely bring some insane volatility. And what I also want to bring up is not only the expected moves for, you could say, tomorrow and the event associated with it, but also just towards the end of this week. Right now, SPY is pricing in a move of $8.70 to the upside or the downside for this week. So like if we go off the base right now of $396 a share, anything higher than $404 and let's say 70 cents per share, or anything lower than like $387.30 per share, that's another point where, if we break either of those levels, it can bring some extreme volatility going forward. So what is very interesting with this is this $387.30 level falls right at this support trend line right here. So the thing is, going into tomorrow, you can say, and just the rest of the week, I think that this support line right here that the market has been respecting in a very strong way will be absolutely crucial. Hopefully we don't even have to test this trend line, but if shit hits the fan at this interest rate decision, watch this descending trend line. Like, it's going to be a huge level, and if you don't have it on your charts, essentially just go to a daily chart, line up the peaks, and you could see the it's just a trend line. Just draw the resistance line up here. But it's been very significant over the past year and a half at this point, and it's probably not going to fade away anytime soon. But either way, going into tomorrow and the rest of the week, watch those levels. Will be very important. And what's also worth noting is that for the market overall, I say this all the time, but not all stocks are treated equally in the S&P 500. With that being said, tech stocks have the most respect / power. A company like Apple or Microsoft or Google is much more influential on the overall market compared to a company like, let's say, Wells Fargo. Even though all the companies I mentioned are, huge companies, some are more important than others, you can say. And with that being said, when we look at some of the most important companies, whether it be Microsoft or Apple or Nvidia, or Amazon or Meta or anything like that, or Tesla, some of these stocks are pretty overbought. Like let's say you look at AMD or let's say Nvidia, like some of these stocks are up a ton just over the past couple months. And it's like, let's say you look at Nvidia, from its low to its high, Nvidia is up 140% just since October, the middle of October. Like, that's a really big move, and it's like Nvidia at this point is, it's pretty close to its all-time high of around, you could say, $345 a share. It's definitely closer than it was a couple months ago, And the main point I'm trying to bring up is, like, whatever big tech stock you're looking at right now, they are kind of overbought in the short term. So it's like, I think it'll be easier for the market to fall going into this meeting than it will be for it to rise. But at the end of the day, it ultimately matters on what Jerome Powell says, because he has the most influence in this situation. But either way, watch this major support line right here. I think we can see a retest sometime soon. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this upcoming interest rate decision. It'll be a very important event, and what makes this event so unique is that we have not seen an interest rate decision that is actually pricing in a chance of no rate hike in quite some time. So things are starting to change a little bit. So definitely keep that in mind. If you guys liked the video, make sure to subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. Besides that, let's have an amazing end to the week.